Temperature gauge is running hot. Temperature's kind of wacky. Coolant leaks all over the place. We got a Chrysler Sebring on this edition of Inside the Garage. We've got this sexy hot rod. If you don't have a coolant leak anywhere, but you're still running warm, check the radiator cap, or in this case, the overflow bottle cap. And those seals can crack, they get hard and brittle. These guys can leak. They're really simple. They've got rubber on them, and it's got a little spring, and it slots in place and locks in place. On the Chrysler 2.7, everything is just about plastic on these coolant systems. That plastic is lightweight, and it's easy to distribute fluids and air, and so one of the more common problems is going to be this coolant tower, coolant bleeder screw, and once it leaks down and drips down to the side, it's going to burn off, therefore you won't have any coolant leaks on the ground. So that bleeder outlet is very similar to the cap on a rice cooker. It's going to start bubbling over. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is drain out all the coolant. Make sure the radiator cap is off, so that process goes a lot quicker. Now you could pull the radiator hose, the lower radiator hose, and drain all that out, but that's going to make a complete mess. The purposes of showing you some tips, there's a plastic drain valve, the petcock valve. In some occasions you can grab a rag, pair of pliers, or put some rubber in between the pair of pliers with that rag and slowly crack that open. Easily break these guys, so you want to be really careful. Now some of these are sort of threaded and some are just counterclockwise and they pull right out. We got all the coolant dry and drained. That's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and pull the coolant outlet out, and then let's show this side by side from the Mopar original equipment Chrysler part to the aftermarket. Now we're not beating up the aftermarket, but in this case, if you can get away with getting one from Chrysler on this 2.7, that's the quality that's going to last a whole lot longer. Now that we got the coolant outlet out, let's compare these side by side with the Mopar and the aftermarket part. You can immediately see that the coolant temp sensor, it's got some Teflon coating for some added measure. The second part to this is you've got these guides that are sleeved into the plastic, and these guides are slightly thicker. Now don't fret, if you've got to use an aftermarket part, we're not suggesting that the aftermarket's not going to work, but it's been our experience that using a Chrysler outlet for this 2.7 motor, it's going to last a whole lot longer. Now here's a quick tip. What if you're broken on down the side of the road and this coolant tower, this outlet, starts leaking? Get your 10mm socket or wrench out, get that off, put some Teflon tape on the bleeder screws, reinsert that, and hopefully that seals that up and gets you out of a bind. So the Chrysler will live another day, a simple fix. If you find yourself in a similar situation, don't delay. Get it squared away right away, because you don't want to cook the cylinder head. Hey, if you guys got any videos that you want to see, get them down on the comments. And if you're a mechanic and you've got some ideas or tips, we welcome that. Get them down on the comments. We'll catch you next time on Inside the Garage.